kender til 5. Det er ligesom robotter, det er koldt og shit. De kender ham, alle kan ikke kende sig selv. Men rolig min bror, du kan vende dig til. Jeg kender til rotter, jeg kender til 5. Det er ligesom robotter, I got really into this. I was talking with my wife, and this is multiple parts. Faye had a press conference, and I have many, many thoughts. So many thoughts that I had to like bounce them off of my wife. I was telling her about it, and then I started recording pretty late. So this is like a 4-part series of like my reaction to the press conference. And yeah, it's a doozy, but lock in. All right, I'm going over the details of what happened during Faye's fan meeting with my wife, and I already, my wife is like, what the fuck? We've only gotten to the part where I was telling her that Yoko ghosted Faye, and like our perspectives about it. And basically I was like saying I could believe that when Yoko ghosted her under the guise of like Juan's influence. What did you say, Jay?
Like, she's a non-practicing psychology major. She has a psychology degree, but she's not practicing, so she's just probably running around fucking with people's heads. Because why would you get a psychology degree and not
practice?
Like, that's a weird degree to have to not practice.
Some things that happen later in the press conference that Faye reveals, and it's like, oh, that's incredibly inappropriate, and like, yeah, you don't. This is not sounding legit. It's sounding very manipulative. But yeah, I could believe that Yoko definitely stopped talking to Faye, and she was expecting Faye to run after her, and Faye ain't that kind of person. She's a very direct person. It's like, if you got a problem with her, you just tell her, and then they work it out. Apparently, they had, like, of course you have tiffs with each other, you get into little, like, arguments, but they would always make up, like, within a few minutes. I mean, the same day. Like, it was like, why would you just stop talking to her? And I could, so.
That's weird. I feel like Juan may have had something to do with that, because she seemed very jealous of their relationship.
I don't know. But yeah, maybe. I'm like trying to be careful about what I say.
Oh yeah.
I just wanted like.
I don't know anything.
It's fine.
With anything I say.
You're off camera. It's fine. Okay. Okay. Then Faye goes into the 4E situation, and she talks about how she didn't really know what was going on with the full 4E. She didn't know if she was a part of the process or not. I think she found out was the same time the fans found out, because the company wasn't telling her shit.
That is so weird.
And this is because the company started out in a very like, even Juan even admitted this, like a family style, which is like so inappropriate, but it's very common for startups to be like, we're a family and blah, blah, blah. And they used a lot of Faye's friends to fill job positions. Faye was like really, I feel like she had like a lot of information and knew what was going on. And then the company decided that they needed to change their structure to a more corporate style, which I do agree with.
Yeah.
But the way that they did it was like, oh, okay, we're just going to change to a corporate style and we're not going to tell you anything. Which is very, like, that is corporate, but it's like, you can't go from a family style to a corporate style without a transition. Yeah. Like, you just can't, like, flip a switch and be like, okay, now we're a corporate company and I'm...
Needs to be a transition period.
Yeah. And then also, like, why wouldn't you talk to your artists about their future? Mm-hmm. They've asked about it, and you're not telling them what's going on. They're just, like, listless. They don't know what the future holds. They're just doing fan meetings all the time. They're like, okay, but when are we going to do a series? When are we, like, what's going on? She wasn't getting any information. Isn't that weird? The person who's made this fandom what it is, essentially, used her fandom to prop up this company and this series, and you're not communicating with her? Weird. Oh, so she found out about the 4E thing, right? Because a senior called her. I think this might have been Nawat, if not, because she mentions a couple people. So she says someone called her and was like, hey, why aren't you joining the project? And she was like, what do you mean? That's not true. I want to join it, basically. And they were like, oh, well, maybe we can work together in the future. It's fine. And then another executive called her and was like, why did you guys fight or something? Like, why can't you guys work together? Like, why did you ask for a production to be canceled, a series to be canceled?
And she was like,
what? Like, excuse me? And she was like, no, like, for one, like, I definitely want to be a part of, like, I don't have any issues. We're not fighting. Yeah. And then two, she was like, I don't have the authority to cancel a production. I'm an actress. Like, what do you mean cancel? She was blindsided. And all the stuff that like, even the announcements about her not being a part of, she didn't know until we did. Like, the company did not tell her anything.
That's so fucked up. How is that not future contract on their part?
No, this is a different country. The laws are different.
With
in Thai culture, it is set up in a hierarchy. There's hierarchies, right? And you in work, you're not supposed to really be questioning your bosses. You're not. But like their situation was, I feel, is different because she kind of signed on. I don't know the details of their partnership, but she signed on as more than just like a normal artist. She had profit sharing, But that is, I think, is key. They did not want her to have so much financial control. So Faye is like, my name is being tarnished now.
Yeah, that's not right.
Like now people think that I'm fighting with my partner, my coworker, my co-star, and they're thinking that I'm like shutting down a production. Like I have the authority or the power to do that. She's like, oh no.
Or was Nine-Star trying to insinuate that Faye and Yo's behavior was the reason that they pulled them out of the project?
I think so.
That's messed up.
That's messed up. You're like throwing both artists under the table, saying like both of them. Well, I tried to work with like Fawn saying her ex post that I tried to work with both of them and I couldn't get it to work basically. So you're saying that's why are you throwing Yoko under the bus? Wow. Like it's so weird. Faye was like, oh okay. So she's like, let me take the opportunity to call one of the senior producers on the 4E project. She called her to the press conference and put her on the speakerphone. I was like, boss shit, come with receipts. Wow. That's a big shit. Like, cause 4E did on social media, one of the producers had already said on X that like did like a subtweet basically was to Nine-Star was like don't wait, basically saying like don't waste people's time. Don't come to things and waste people's time. So like they were already kind of done with Nine-Star because they felt like they were being dicked around themselves. Anyway, Faye calls her up. She's like, let me clarify this issue. Let me call her. So she calls P Took and she is like, P Took's like, what would you like me to talk about? And Faye's like, about 4E, whether it's true that I didn't want to take the part. And she's like, oh, of course, I'll tell him. And she like says, it's 2 p.m. on November 9th. Greetings, everybody. She's like, introducing herself. So funny. So she says, when I decided to invest in the 4 elements, I intended for you to be a part of the project. However, the owner, she said something like, I expected, she said specifically that I expected you, Faye Yoko, Freen Becky, Inglot, and then the other pair, I forgot their name. She's like, I
thought it was supposed to be like all of the couples.
Yeah, it's a mega project, right? So she's like, this producer saying, I came on this project because I thought you were going to be in it. Like, I expected you to be in it, right? She says, however, the owner of Faye's company later informed me that they wanted to withdraw from participation. The reason given was that they were concerned the two might not be able to work together smoothly and that we wouldn't be able to take responsibility if there was any issues.
That's a weird statement.
No, now let me backtrack to when Nawat did his. Remember, after the shit went down, Nawat had a press conference himself. He was talking about MGI, but he also talked about Faye and his conversation with her. And he like pretty much this is kind of corroborating because he essentially said the same thing. Was like that they couldn't work together. Like he said like Nine-Star had pulled out because of a scheduling issue, and basically said that they couldn't work together anymore, and that he was sure that they wouldn't be working. Faye and Yoko wouldn't be working together anymore. And he also said something to the effect that they have a plan for Yoko and not for Faye. He essentially like said that in like not direct ways, but basically insinuated that. So we already kind of knew that there's some fishy shit going on. And then the whole thing with 4E, tweeting like basically you're wasting our time, or one of the producers tweeting that. And then now she on the phone at the press conference and confirming that Nine-Star said it was them. They pulled out. Yeah, Nine-Star pulled out themselves and kind of blamed it on Faye and Yoko.
Wow. That's so messed up.
I know. Said, were they ever contracted or contacted to come to the project? And Putu's like, because that was the thing that Juan said. She was like, we were never under contract to be a part of 4E. These were like negotiating talks or whatever. And P Took is like, wouldn't it be strange to withdraw from something you were never invited to? Bars dropping. She's like, if they requested to withdraw, that means that there had been an invitation in the first place. True. So she's like, Juan's saying like, oh, there wasn't a contract. Verbal contracts are contracts.
Yeah, they are.
Like, if you said, I want to be a part of this project, and all the producers are like, yeah, come on, let's talk about the specifics, and then you pulled out, then, yeah, you made a commitment, and then you changed your mind. So, like, you lie. Why are you always lying? So dumb. I thought basically it. I think that conversation, she was just confirming, like, no, yeah, this is what Juan and her team said. All right, so then they stop talking, and she like tells Faye that I wish you all the best. Faye goes, so everyone knows, she's like, I found out the same time as the public did. I never once said I didn't want to be in the project. I've always wanted to, and the news came out that one pair had withdrawn. I hoped it wouldn't be us. I always held hope that we would be a part of the project.
Man, that sucks.
It would have blown up their
God,
careers.
it would have been amazing.
So dumb. All right, now she talks about breaking up the pair. She's like, this caused a lot of misunderstanding. She said one day before this fan meeting that they had back in September, it was like at their first Thailand fan meeting, basically. She was like, Juan, she said the owner of the company, which is Juan. She didn't say no names.
I love that. That's so classy.
It's so classy. She's like, the day before their fan meeting in Thailand, Juan scheduled a psychology appointment between her, Juan, and Yoko. Right away.
What?
Why are we doing this?
Is super inappropriate.
Right?
Yeah.
What? Why?
The day before?
First of all, why are you scheduling a psychology appointment? Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Isn't that super inappropriate in any culture?
Yeah.
Why would you, as a boss, think it's appropriate to set up any kind of psychology appointment with your employees? That is
because she's a non-practicing psychologist and thinks she has the right to mess with people's heads.
That is the most wildest thing I was like, that's crazy. No matter what country it is, especially here, because psychology and therapy stuff is not normal here. Like, it's very kind of taboo and looked down upon, and it's like a new field. And I'm like, you doing this is like adding fuel to the fire. Like, this is some manipulative bullshit, and people aren't gonna go to therapy because they're gonna be like, oh, people, like, because of her.
Yeah.
And it's crazier is what happened in that therapy session. Faye says is because they asked her, what would you do if we broke you up as a pair? Why? What? Why would you ask that? Like, why is that the question? Why do we need a therapist for that? Why wouldn't you just have
that's like, I mean, I feel like that's a professional, work thing.
Yes.
Now they're the ones crossing the line into, personal and professional, where it's like, if you're the professional company, shouldn't you keep it professional?
Exactly. I'm like, there's no problem with this question. How you feel about breaking up the pair? This is a work meeting.
Yeah.
This is a typical work meeting. Like, maybe have HR there, just have a conversation. Like, how do you feel about the future of this couple, the shipdom? What if we paired you off with different people? How do you feel? Right. This is not, why are we scheduling a psychology appointment?
That's creepy.
Right?
Yeah, that's super inappropriate.
And Faye said her response to that was basically I'm an actress. I will do what I need to do. If I need to be a rock, I'll be a rock. If I need to, you literally said that. She's like, yeah, if I need, she's like, I'll do what I need to do. Like, what do you mean? She didn't say what Yoko said, which I appreciate. She didn't say how Yoko reacted. She was like, that's not for her. It's not for me to say. This is what I said. After that, they asked her to go to a psychology appointment again afterwards. And she was like, no. She was like, no, I don't feel comfortable about it. She was like, it made me feel bad. Yeah. And she was like, it was right before our fan meeting. And it was like, I wanted to be present like that, to kind of mess with my head before the fan meeting.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was on purpose, girl. Yeah, they were planting a seed. They were testing the waters at that point to make her feel insecure about the whole situation. And she said that she talked to Yoko and was like, basically what do you, what's going on? And Yoko was like, yeah, I didn't see that coming. They both were kind of blindsided by it, which who knows? We don't know if that's true or not, if Yoko knew or not. She said that they both felt like they were blindsided by that question. I'm like, so they were aware, essentially, that there could be them breaking up. And I think they had even said that they are people in the camp knew that is a possibility, that they could have broken up. But why would you break up your most popular couple?
Yeah,
your only couple, and they're the popular, they're gaining all this attention. Why would you even think about breaking them up? Also, I want to point out, this is in September. Her grandfather was dying.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
Her grandfather was dying.
That's crazy. And why would you put that on someone that's already going through such a hard time? Wouldn't you just if everything is going so well, you just be like, like this can wait.
That is like,
more upset
I
for
know
what they did.
No matter what, the fact that there was a psychology appointment scheduled at all, I'm like, you already went too far. This is already inappropriate. Like, oh my god, as someone from talent acquisition and HR background, that is incredibly inappropriate. It's so ethically inappropriate. Oh my god. And then she's basically said that after that, basically she alluded to, like, all of a sudden people were saying that we wanted to break up. There was a rumor mill going on, and so after that happened, someone leaked that they didn't want to work together. So there was like an insinuation, because Faye said that she would work with anyone. That meant that she didn't want to work or wouldn't work with Faye with Yoko in the future. That's what my assumption, like when I'm reading through this, is that people started, there's all these rumors that started on X about them having issues. And I'm like, timing of that is very interesting. Like, who planted that seed? Who started talking about that in the camp? It doesn't necessarily have to be Juan. It could have been someone else in the company. But I'm just like, why?
Why would you even start saying that?
Why? This is gonna need a part 2. So let me just come back. If you care enough, come back, because this is long. Okay. So now she goes on to talk about the contract termination. She's like, regarding why I left is a big question, and she was like, when the company called her to ask to change her contract. Right? And she was like, they came to her and they were like, please read this and sign it today.
Today? Usually you need some time to look it over, talk with your lawyer.
That's what she said. She was like, I replied that contracts are sensitive and important. I need time to read it carefully. And so she took her time, she read it, she made some edits, and then sent it back. And she told them, like, honestly, the old contract is fairer. And they're like, okay, then we'll just keep the old one. Okay. Sus. Mind you, remember they had hired an outside CEO. Do you remember this? Nani.
That's right.
And I said, this is classic. From a talent acquisition perspective, I was like, oh, she has been hired to clean house.
Clean house, yeah.
That's what you do. You hire a new CEO because you don't want to handle it, all the drama of that. They fired all of her friends. They fired all of Faye's friends and isolated her, and then had this new CEO come in and like talk to her basically. So like Juan could be like, oh, I'm focusing on the artistic part, which is fair, but it was like, be honest. You wanted her to take the fall. And also, why'd you hire someone from a background that wasn't entertainment? This woman is coming from fintech, venture capital, like has nothing to do with the entertainment industry. And then when shit came out, when Faye did leave, they had that TikTok press conference about it. And remember, they threw Faye on the bus, saying that Faye had conflicting contractual agreements and stuff like that, which were not true. And so she talks about basically during that time she just felt like things were uncertain. She didn't know what was going on. She wasn't getting any clarity about her career, and that's why she decided to end the contract. She's like, there was no future and then no happiness. And she's like, I was waking up every day without a goal. It's just like, oh, I guess I'll just do this fan meeting again. She's like, I never intended to leave behind anyone. I never planned this. After leaving, I was completely devastated, but I received a lot of support from friends, family, people in the industry, and my fans. She's like, people misunderstood, so she's like, this is why I'm telling my side. She's like, even on the day I left, I still had good feelings, because Nong said that, she said, once Nong had told me, if one day you do well, I'll be happy for you. So we partied on good terms, and I choose to remember only the good things. And this makes sense. I was like, yeah. Yoko ghosted her ass, and then when they saw each other during that, fan call, that awkward fucking fan call, Faye went to her and was like, hey, we had a good thing, let's just end it here, and let's not mention each other. That sounds plausible to me. It sounds very possible. Yeah. Sounds very much like Faye's personality. Okay? Then Faye was like, I want to have another, I got another person who can vouch for me. She was like, someone I've worked with since the very beginning, P-Pen. P-Pen is the music producer, right? And I told you, he's been standing 10 toes down on, he's always been about, on Faye's side, and also Yoko's side. He's like, I care about Faye and Yoko so much, he does not give a fuck about Juan. Has made that very clear. He does not like her. And I was like, that's telling. Moondew Productions leaving them, that's telling. Okay. Pen, he gets up and he talks. So he's like, I'm the music producer for the series. I composed all this stuff. It's about who he is and that he worked on the contracts, right? The contracts, the soundtracks. And the songs, the cover songs and stuff, families. So he's like, what I'd like to say today is to clear up misunderstandings about the rumors that she supposedly didn't want to work with her partner anymore, wanted to go solo, or was being unprofessional. We saw each other almost every month since early last year. Both of them were always kind to me, and I had a good relationship with both Faye and Nong. They were never any problems. Every time they worked together, they were as sweet as Faye mentioned earlier. Sometimes they had small disagreements. They didn't talk for 5 or 10 minutes, but then they hugged and made up. This is very... They both had talked about they don't stay mad at each other. Yeah. Like, they make up very quickly. Not once did they fail to finish a song or recording. We worked together continuously until the last official project, the Christmas song, around the end of last year. I can confirm that it was a duet and that they worked together very well. Both were happy to be there. Speaking professionally, I don't know what was going on personally between them, but if we're talking about professionalism, I never saw any behavior that made it impossible for them to work together. Never, I can guarantee that. Another point, one of the reasons behind what happened, let's call it an issue, goes back to September last year. Normally, Faye is cheerful and full of energy. So then he's saying, like, back in September, where all this stuff happened, was going on, not this September, but the one before. He said, normally Faye is cheerful, full of energy whenever she comes to record, always smiling. But that day, I remember clearly she came in not to record, and she sat outside the studio. I had asked her what was wrong. Faye asked me, do you know if I have any plans to act in another series? She's asking the music producer.
Damn.
I was surprised, and I said, I only work on the music. I don't know about that side. She then asked, have you talked to the company owner? I don't know anything. No plans, no updates, not even whether I'll be paired with Nong again. I was really taken aback. Why would she have to ask something like that? Faye always told me, I want to keep going. I want to continue. I'm an actress. This is my career, my livelihood. I want to work. I'm happy working with Nong. If you hear anything about upcoming projects, please let me know. Isn't crazy? One thing she said really broke my heart. One day when she came to record, Faye said, lately I don't even know why I wake up. I don't know if I'll get to act again. The company hasn't told me anything. To me, he's saying, that sounded like a person who was losing hope in life. He says, I later reached out to the company to ask, as an outsider, what was going on. From what I was told, the company said they were becoming more corporate in structure, and it was now difficult to communicate directly with Faye in the family-style way they used to. So I think it was mainly a miscommunication issue. But that's intentional. You know? To me, I'm like, okay, trying to be a devil's advocate, see it from their perspective, but I'm like, but yeah, y'all don't see that it's a communication. Okay. He can see it that it's a communication. Y'all don't? Okay, anyway. Okay. In the end, I believe Faye's decision to leave was the best choice for her. She never wanted to abandon the success, the feelings, or the good things that she had built with her partner. Thank you. And then he goes, oh, one more thing. I just remembered this. I've been getting a lot of messages since I've been working with Faye. I even handled the music for her latest concert. People have asked me, does Faye hate her former partner now? Do they not love each other anymore? Almost every time I meet Faye, I'd say 90% of the time, her first question is, have you talked to Nong? How is she doing? Faye literally starts crying. Like, she looks down and starts crying. It's like, he's like, I can tell Faye still cares. She doesn't hate her. This is just part of the natural cycle of the entertainment industry. Sometimes people end up working separately. I genuinely believe Faye is not a bad person, and she doesn't harbor ill feelings toward anyone. Thank you. And then Faye thanked him. And I'm like, that sounds about right. Because, okay, so this puts things in more perspective. Like, all of the stuff we were like, why is she being so delulu? I thought they had broken up. Like, I thought she was just processing all this, like, fan meeting stuff where it was, like, very clear things that were references to her and Yoko. Her even making posts on social media that were obviously about Yoko very clearly. And I thought she was just, being queer and processing the breakup. But no, she was trying to get her attention. Oh, that's so sad. I feel a little bit bad about making the delulu post now. But I was like, she could have said something.
Yeah, but she was trying to be subtle, and she was trying to, like, not...
tie people. Tie people. I was just having fun. I was like, oh yeah, we're processing together, queers, we're processing. That's cool. Like, I didn't think she was seriously, like... No,
she was, like, trying to, like...
get this fucking child attention. I was like... Oh, man, that made me even madder. Yeah, but I'm just like, damn, that's sad. I'm like, wow, this young person really fucked you up. Oh, my God.
Honestly, Yoda's, like, super young, and we don't know that she's not being manipulated.
We don't, but also you can't, like, she's also an adult.
Yeah.
She's 23. She's 24 now. Yeah, the prefrontal cortex is not developed. Fair, but I'm like, she made decisions. You make decisions, and you have to deal with the consequences. And I'm like, I do think that she's.
I made bad decisions when I was that age.
You made a lot of bad
decisions when I was her age. So like, yeah, I can't. Yeah, it sucks.
It's like it's understandable,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's like, well, you gotta lie in the decisions you made, and your career is fucked because you decided that your career was more important than this relationship. And that's fair. Like, that's a Thai cultural thing. Like, work is always more important than anything. It's work, then family, then friends. And, like, she made a choice. And it just wasn't, it was a bad choice. And I think her career is going to suffer forever. Now, also that Faye said this, and this, like, we already kind of knew because the industry had sided with Faye. Yeah. So it was like, and then, like, Yoko keeps doubling down that she feels that, Juan is supporting her and as her protector, essentially. She's, gone on to say stuff like that. And I'm like...
that right there just explains all of her behavior. If she's getting most of her advice from Juan, and Juan is the master manipulator, then it sucks because she'll probably come out of this, like, 3, 4, 5 years from now and, like, realize what happened in, like, not a good way.
Yep.
And realize that she might have been being manipulated and, like,
She's gonna look back on this and regret it. And that's, whatever, that's her life. So anyway, okay, so that is, I'll call this, like, part 2. I'm gonna do a part 3 because this press conference is over an hour. Okay, so let me come back. Starting another video. Okay, so now we get to the Q&A portion. So this is where the reporters ask questions. Okay, so they asked, before you went to see the psychologist, were there any problems along the way between you and your former partner and with the company? 5, if you asked whether there were problems, there were moments of sulking and were feeling a bit hurt. We worked together, spent time together, and talked all the time. But I don't know what the actual problem was. If it was work-related, I think it's normal to have minor hurt feelings sometimes. We never let those things affect our work. Because I had a lot of confidence in my partner, we were a good team. I don't understand what happened. Now, I believe that, and even Juan said that in the press conference that they had back in March, that they were always professional and that they worked well together. Mm-hmm. So that is, like, also surprising. Like, why'd you say that in the press conference, but then in these latest tweets you said that they had problems with each other?
Yeah, that's weird.
Why are you contradicting yourself? Weird. And the reporter goes, did you ever talk with your former partner about what happened? Yes, Nong said, I don't know what happened either. We both learned about the same question being raised on that day at the same time as each other. After that, we didn't touch the topic again. So when they got asked, in that psychology appointment, like, how do you feel about it? They, like, both were surprised, but they never talked about it again. Which is interesting that they never brought it up again.
Yeah.
We were still talking about when we'd have a new series. I even asked P-Pen if I'd get to act in another series. P-Pen isn't a part of the company, but he works and talks with the executives, so I hoped I could ask him things that he might know. If you know anything, please tell me. That's what I asked P-Pen. That's all I knew. So that's why I said I didn't know my own plan. Reporter, when was the last time you spoke to your former partner? 5, February 9th. After that, you didn't talk again? Nong didn't reply to my line messages. Reporter, was there no calling or an attempt to connect somehow? Isn't not replying an answer? Faye is an adult. Faye is an adult. She's like, I ain't chasing nobody. And then the reporter's like, even without knowing the reason, why would not knowing make you want to find an answer? Faye goes, and where exactly should I find the answer? And the reporter goes, I mean, when you saw there was no sign from her of wanting to contact you, ... Faye goes, I don't know everything about what anyone thinks or feels. What I do know is that we were planning to spend Valentine's Day together. After that, I don't know what happened. But before then, we were replying to line within seconds. Then I don't remember the exact time, maybe a little after 9 p.m. I messaged because I hadn't seen a reply, asking where'd she like to go, what she wanted to do. Just tell me, I'm here and I'll take you. There was no reply. I thought maybe she wanted personal time or was busy with something. I'm not the type to pester. I figured she'd eventually answer. That sounds like Faye. She's like, I am not going to fucking chase you. Anyway, after that, there was never any reply. I didn't dare message again, asking what happened, because some people might have things on their mind, or some people just want time alone. I didn't know. Like anyone, if you want to share, you will. Was I supposed to intrude? I really don't know. again, her being like, why would I, like, we're friends. Like, we're talking all the time, and this person just stops talking to me. Why would I pester her and be like, why aren't you talking to me? Like, that's not their personality. That's not their dynamic. Mm-hmm. Also, Thai culture, like, it's just like, you let people be a lot of times. You don't pester them if they don't want to hang. You know, like, I just feel like there's things that are different culturally. Like, you just don't do whatever. Anyway, I just want to put that out. That was the question. And so they're like, so you're still left hanging? She's like, yes. About what happened? She's like, yes. For many months. Yes. I've been living without not knowing, trying to find answers, getting none, and not knowing where to find them. On what date did you terminate your contract? They're asking her when. She was like, is before the press conference, so basically. She was like, I don't really remember the exact date.
Hostage video.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yoko did look like a hostage in that. It was bad. She looked very manipulated. And she's saying she wasn't. I'm like, girl, you look like you were.
I said I wasn't being manipulated when I was being manipulated.
You were in a very bad relationship for years.
I know all the signs.
Okay, the reporter goes, what made you decide to end the contract? As I said, I couldn't see a path for myself, but I can tell you this, I never abandoned anyone, and I mean that sincerely. Reporter, what made it impossible to just wait it out until the contract expired? It was purely about the work direction, living with confusion, with questions that never got answers, with no plan. What was I supposed to be waiting around for? I don't know what the plans the company had for anyone else, but as for me, I never knew of any plan. They never told her anything for several months.
That's crazy. You're just like left in limbo. Like,
well, all they were doing fan meetings and magazine shoots. That's it. And most of the fan meetings were in China. Reporter, do you remember what they said when you went in to ask for the termination? Faye, I remember it clearly. The reporter's like, please tell us. Faye's like, what I said to her was essentially about the things I'd heard. Were they true? If they weren't true, how were we supposed to continue together? Like, continue working together? The reporter was like, was this about 4E? Faye then turns to her lawyer, and she's like, and asked him, like, can I talk about this? And he was like, yeah. She goes, yes, it was about 4E. About the claims that there was fighting, that we couldn't work together, and that I had to shut down production. I heard this from a senior, so I asked her, did you actually say that? I didn't know that the root cause why I wasn't in the project. When did we supposedly fight? When did I shut down? Like, shut down means like shut down the production. She was like, I don't have the authority to shut down a production. I'm just an actress. I would never destroy my own reputation by doing something like that. So I asked, if it isn't true, did you say that or not? If it is like that, how are we supposed to continue together? What about my plan? And the reporter goes, and what did she say when you asked whether it was true? She asked me who I heard it from. I replied, well, which senior did you talk to then? But she didn't give me any answer. So Faye went to her directly, which is very uncommon, and was really direct with her. I was like, did you say this? Like, did you tell people that we were fighting and that we couldn't work together and that I shut down a production? And then Juan's response was like, who told you that? And then Faye was like, who were you talking to? Who did you talk to? And then Juan didn't respond. Didn't respond to the question. If that's not telling, I asked you a direct question about something I heard and you don't want to tell me if you said it or not? You're going to ask me who told you me? Also, I don't understand this. Wow. Lightning! The thunder! Sparkles. If you know that reference, oh my god. If someone's asking you, you're guilty. If you can't even answer the fucking question, like, you can't say me, like, yeah, I said it or I didn't say it. Like, no, they're lying.
Also, that's just, like, that's so unprofessional.
So unprofessional.
How are you going to try to say that, like, your company is getting more professional and you are acting less professional?
I don't understand, like, you knew that Inglot is a part of this project. So you knew that Nawat is there. You know that she has this relationship with Nawat. That they're close. You know that already. Like, I don't understand, like, Juan didn't realize that how much support Faye had in the industry. Like, this shit wasn't going to get back to her. Like, I was like, this is so weird that she didn't, like, think that. I don't know. It's so bizarre. I'm like, what is your, like, you knew she was popular in the industry.
Yeah.
You knew she had already more relationships than they had. So I don't understand what the company was thinking they would get away with this. Like, she wouldn't find out about this stuff. Weird. Okay, the reporter goes, did she try to keep you, ask you to stay? Faye, not at all. She would have signed it that very day even, but I had some pending work, so I finished that first. They were ready to let her go. They had already decided. They didn't want her around. I mean, that was clear when they tried to renegotiate her contract.
Yeah.
So the reporter's like, from September to March, they said there was harassment toward the former partner and former company and conflicts. What's your view? So basically online there was harassment of Nine-Star and Yoko. There's been
when everyone was like doing the boycott or whatever.
Yeah, the timing of this is weird because I'm just not sure. The reporter said September to March, and I'm like, but the boycott kind of happened in like March till now. So I don't know if he's saying things backwards or I don't know. I'm not sure. But Faye goes, let me put it this way. Some things weren't explained and questions weren't addressed. As you all saw, my mental state was shattered. Healing takes time for some, if not long for some. It's 2 months, or others 10 years or 5 years. She's saying like healing takes time. Everyone's healing timeline is different. I felt that if speaking would hurt someone emotionally, especially the fans, then I wouldn't speak. But as time passed, the impact grew on people around me, on the fans' emotional state, and on my own. That's why I'm speaking today. She said that. She was like, I don't want to hurt my fans. I don't want to hurt anyone else's feelings. She didn't want to hurt Yoko, so she didn't say anything. And I'm like, that's so tight. And I'm like, she should have said something.
Yeah.
She should have. But this is what happens when I feel like people are always ganging up on this girl.
Is, like, pretty
young.
Like young people like really need like answers.
They need
direction and information because
they'll run wild.
Yeah.
Because they're not mature. They're immature.
Yeah.
A lot of the fandom is very young. You literally have children who are following this stuff, and I'm like, yeah, you have to over communicate with these people. Even though I feel like you don't have to. It's your right not to. But at the same time, yeah, you kind of have a responsibility to be very, very clear with your fan base because they don't know how to process information. They're emotionally very, very immature, intellectually immature. So yeah, even older people. Some of these people are well past 30 and need to be told how to act. Anyway, so the report goes.
Emotional maturity is like not taught.
It's not taught
around the world, so it's like everyone's sort of lacking in that department, depending on
your
experience,
your family.
you have.
Yeah. During that period, did you face anti-fans? What do you call it? Toxic fans online? She says, I don't see them as anti-fans. I see them as people who didn't understand. I still respect them. I was hurt just like the fans were. I felt the same. So she was like, I'm not angry with them. She's like, this is all misunderstanding. She's like, were you harassed? She's like, what kind of harassment? They're asking about being followed. She says, yeah, it's all been resolved. I believe in the fans' love for us. I just asked for personal space and they understood. The reporter goes, many people link your going solo to the idea that Nong confessed her feelings for you, so you decided to split. Is that true? So that's like during the press conference, because Yoko did say that she loved Faye or whatever, she had feelings for her or whatever, and that was like a thing that people were saying, like, oh, they broke up because Yoko got serious, or like, and then Faye goes, link it how? And the reporter goes, they link it to Nong confessing real feelings for you, which made you uncomfortable. Faye goes, I wasn't uncomfortable at all, everyone. What people saw came from genuine feelings. We've always been clear that we're good partners and good feeding on to each other. We once had good feelings for each other, so why shouldn't we still be on good terms? I wasn't uncomfortable. We were together, worked together. Naturally, we'd have good feelings for each other and be good partners. There was no discomfort. Reporter, so even when Nong saying she felt more than just a partnership, no discomfort? Faye, no discomfort. The reporter, you knew how Nong felt? Faye, Nong only said she had good feelings. I told her I had good feelings too. Good feelings for each other. Reporter, she confessed. Faye goes, the confession didn't specify what kind of love or what it was. That was never said. It was only that we had good feelings for each other. To me, that is mind your business. Like, mind your fucking business. To me, I'm like, they were fucking. But like, just because you're fucking doesn't mean you're in a relationship.
Yeah.
It means you're in a ship.
Yeah.
Of maybe you're a situationship of friends with benefits.
Yeah.
Like, they alluded to it many a times, especially Yoko was very, like, it was very clear that they had hooked up. Didn't mean they were hooking up the entire time. Didn't mean that their relationship was, like, romantic. It
could be.
It could be, possibly, and it could not be.
Right.
Like,
honestly, that's kind of none of our business.
It isn't any of our business. It isn't. But I'm like, yeah, I'm like, who cares? Even if they were or they weren't. And I'm like, there are lots of relationships out there. Like, PR relationships are, like, people are like, oh, that's a PR relationship. But PR relationship doesn't mean that the relationship isn't real.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not the relationship that you guys think it is. People get in relationships for all types of reasons, for their profession, or even just because, like, I've been in situationships with people where I was like, we are friends, we're fucking, but we both know we don't want to be in a relationship with each other. But this is good. Like, what we're doing is good.
I think a lot of times people have a hard time processing the fact that temporary relationships can also be
genuine.
Yeah.
Like, there's an expiration date, but you're okay with that. You're like, we're having fun. Let's enjoy each other. This is a great experience. The fans love it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you have an understanding, you're like, oh yeah, when this ends, it's going to be fine because we'll still be friends. Like, I don't know. Maybe because I'm just I'm very queer. And I've been in lots of non-conventional relationships, and I feel like a lot of people, especially young people, are being fed this, like, oh, I find my one true love.
To find
the one. And that's the only person I'm going to be forever. We have to get married and have children. It's like, that is so patriarchal. Like, that is not the experiences of most people. And, like, I don't understand why queer people want to emulate straight couples. I do not fucking get that. This whole, like, thing about having a more masculine person and a more feminine person, and, like, all these, like, stereotypes and tropes, and I'm just like, that is so gross and toxic. I'm like,
well, there's not a lot of examples of, like, other ways that things can work.
Yes.
So, it's like, you can only emulate what you see, and if this is all you're seeing, then that's all you're going to do.
That's all you're going to do, and I'm like, it's not great. So, again, this is where you have to educate people. Anyway, so moving on. Reporter, are you sad that the pairing became so popular amid the new wave of Yuri couples and then suddenly stopped? Faye, am I sad? I think I feel more sorry for the fans' feelings. Reporter, what do you think about being attacked by your former partner's fan base? Faye, as I said, there are things I never spoke about. If there were misunderstandings today, I'd like to look at my side too. I don't wish anyone ill. People have the right to love different artists. If fans defend that artist they love, that's not wrong. But please don't spread untrue things. Don't say things that harm others. I'm speaking now because there has been an impact. I have never spoken up before. There were problems and consequences. Some gigs were canceled. Some things were reported. Maybe because of confusion or because I myself had never spoken up. And that's true. Like, some of her a couple fan meetings were canceled in China, or reported to the authorities, and they had to, like, move venues and stuff last minute because, like, Yoko's fan base would, like, harass the local government and, like, lie and, like, yeah. Like, these children, because they're children. Their children they are organized and they are petty. They are like
they're organized.
Yes, they're like, it's like, what? They don't have lives. They literally don't have lives. Like, they spend their life online all the time. That's what I'm saying. They're online all the time and not in reality. And they think that they're very righteous and think that they're right. It's just so weird, but they're immature and they're children. So. All right, reporter goes, why wait so long? They spoke earlier in the year, but you're speaking at the end. Faye said, I thought about it a lot. I tried so many times to speak. I really tried, but my mental state wasn't ready. Even at Timeless Love, I told the fans I would speak, but when I saw their faces, I felt that sometimes the truth might hurt someone, especially me. If I spoke, I'd be hurting too. Some things take time to process. Today, I feel strong enough to speak. With this statement, I'm not attacking anyone. I'm not hurting anyone. I'm speaking from my perspective about what actually happened. And I would say she's right. The only emotion that's coming right now is, like, her being upset about, like, having to be here. Mm-hmm. But, like, all the things she's saying feel very, very real, factual. I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong with what she's saying. Then the reporter goes, after people hear your reasons, do you think the impact on your work will decrease? Will the direction turn positive? I don't know. What I do know is that I've spoken from my side. Many people are curious and wanted me to speak. Feelings are delicate. Today, I've overcome myself to speak, and I'm cleared up at least some questions. I've done my best. Reporter, how will you prepare yourself if you have a new partner, but many fans can't move on from the former one? How will you communicate? Faye, first, I want to empathize with the fans. I understand the love and attachment to the former partner, the characters, the story. I understand. But as an actress, I need to bring new work to the fans. As for a new partner, let time decide how we'll work together and what the new pairing will be like. Please stay tuned for the future. I'm like, that's so professional. And it's true. It's like, no, nothing's going to last forever anyway. Their ship was going to end regardless. It just ended sooner than they both expected, or at least I expected. And it's like, true. It's like, yeah, like, people have to work with other people. These fans, too, they be tripping when, like, people, when the artist does something else without their partner, their shipdom, they, like, will start rumors and, like, hate on the new project. It's so immature, so toxic. Because they're children. I want to point out. They are fucking children. All right. Anyway, reporter, are you worried about starting your own company, whether work will come in? If I worried, I just focus on doing my job the best I can and creating quality work. I believe the fans who are waiting are my only source of strength. I give my all every day without pressure or expectations, just being happy with my work. Reporter, how far along are you in the series? 5, the script is nearly complete. There will be definitely something to see next year. The good news is, as an executive of Fabel Entertainment, I've signed a partnership with Moon Dude Productions to produce a series for the fans. So she talks about this. They're like asking her questions about it. This is where the interview turned more positive. She started smiling. Anything you'd like to add? Today, I've spoken from my perspective, and I'm glad to have cleared the questions people had. Next year, there will be good things for fans to follow and enjoy. I'll do my best. Blah, blah, blah. And then they're like, if anyone spreads fake news, sue them. That's what a reporter says. And Faye goes, I hope we all understand each other. I don't want to sue anyone, but I have to protect myself and those around me. Whatever the issue, I'll always tell my fans that I take responsibility for my actions and my words. Just want everyone to hear my side. Yeah, because when she first did her statement at the end, she was like, I just want to say that, like, basically, like, if anyone if I hear any more bad things talked about me, I will be suing you. She basically said, she's like, I'm going full tie, and I'm going to use, I'm using the suing card, which Juan has used many times against the fandom. So I'm like, she has her right. So yeah, that's that part. I got to do another video because this video is already too long. So let's do part 4. That was the press conference. What do you, so many thoughts. I wrote some notes after the press conference, and I was like, what's sad is that, to me, is like they weren't talking that whole time. So her processing, during the fan meetings, during the social media posts, I was like, damn, that sucks. That's because she got ghosted by a 23-year-old. And I felt bad because I made those Delulu videos because I thought that they were genuinely on good terms. I thought they were friends. I was like, oh, they're friends. They like, the ship ended, but I'm sure they talk to each other, and it's like it's not a big deal, and that the fandom is like losing their shit, and that she's just processing her emotions because it was a breakup, professionally and personally. But no, she was trying to get that child's attention. That's sad, and that makes me feel a little bad, but not that much, because once you start in this industry and you become big enough, you have to understand that your life is entertainment. If you open yourself up to people to know anything about your personal life, your life is now entertainment. That's what it is. And that's why there's so many, I really respect a lot of actors who are very, very private, because they're like, you don't need to know anything about me.
Right.
Why do you need to know about me? I do my job and that's it. I go to interviews, whatever. You don't need to know about me. And I respect that. And it's a good boundary, honestly, because people do be getting in your personal life. I was making videos like everybody else. But, she didn't say anything. She didn't say anything until she got fed up. Also, I'm pissed at Yoko because Faye had said many times, and Yoko knew about this and had even answered for Faye, that what is Faye's biggest fear? What's Faye's biggest fear? That the people she loves will disappear. That's fucked up. You know that. You could have been all she had to say through line was like, hey, things have changed. I don't feel comfortable working with you professionally anymore. I still have love for you. I care about you, but I don't think that working together is a good idea. If I would have took that in stride and been like, oh, okay, well, that's understandable. And, okay, I respect it. It wouldn't have been they probably would have still been talking as friends. Yeah. But her ass just went straight ghost on a person who has lost her entire fucking family. Who has said multiple times, I am scared of losing the people I love.
Yeah, that's kind of fucked up.
Kind of. And then I said, Yoko, at least Yoko wasn't lying when she said that she took a step back. When she told that press, she wasn't lying. She did. She fucking ghosted her. That's what she meant by taking a step back. Woo! I wrote that makes sense that Yoko said that they talked briefly during those fan calls that last time they saw each other, and that Faye said that they were, let's end on good terms and let's not mention each other anymore, because Faye is a fucking adult. This child fucking ghosted you, and you were still the bigger person, and went to her in person and was like, okay, didn't even mention the ghosting. It was like, okay, well, obviously things have ended, and let's move on and be cool. Faye is always the bigger person, and she be getting played. People be playing in her face. It is really bizarre to me, how many times she's been fucked over by people professionally or personally, in a public way. And, but it's been really clear that, people she's so nice. We don't know why people are doing this. And it's it kind of reminds me of Megan Thee Stallion. incredibly nice, incredibly talented, lets people into her circle, and then they fuck her over, and treat her like shit and talk behind her back and like really conniving, and then she has to like cut people off and make her circle smaller. And I'm like,
I think it's because a lot of times people expect pretty people to be mean.
Yes.
And then you're like, oh, you're pretty and nice. I hate you even more.
Yes. And let me take advantage. And let me take advantage of you because you are so nice.
Yeah.
Like, this is great, even better. Now I can like fuck you over, and you're not even gonna see it coming. Like, that is so fuck. I don't know. I'm just like, yeah, having a psychologist in a company is weird and inappropriate, especially when you're the boss. What the fuck? You know, her grandfather was dying in September. Y'all came to the funeral. And then I'm like, okay. And then you have to think about like, why did Juan release those ex posts? Because I'm like,
yeah, why did she do that? What was the point?
She essentially, I think she was trying to get like the boycotters, the bots, to stop harassing her because it's causing harm to the company. But like a lot of these, they're bots. It's like a couple of hundred people, and they made some thousands of bots, and that's, you know, attacking everything they do. Granted, cool, understandable. Like, she's like, I want this to stop so we can move forward. Sure, but I'm like, but then you're lying though. You're saying that Faye and Yoko couldn't work together. Like, so you're making up shit. But you're making up shit. You're contradicting yourself. So it's like, how are we gonna even take your side when you're not telling the truth?
It's just, I don't see. Yeah, she's trying to get the bots and the hate to stop, but at the same time, she's like, well, what are you doing to move your company forward? Like, they're not doing any projects. You broke up and fired like the people who made your company,
and you expect to be thriving. The people who built it are gone. You push them out. And then you're like, oh, why can't my company, you guys won't let my company thrive? And then you have to be honest with yourself. I'm like, the product isn't good. I watched the newbie. I watched every single episode. I watched the live everything. I got up at the crack of dawn and watched that last episode that was live and whatever. It was bad. It was objectively a bad show. And that came directly from Juan. That was from her brain. Blank was not from her brain. Blank was a book. It was a part of a universe that already existed. She just brought it to the screen, and then that was really brought to the screen by Moondu Productions. She didn't write anything. Juan didn't write anything. You know what I mean? Like, it was someone else wrote the script. Moondu Productions did the actual work and did the production filming. I'm like, so you're just an organizer, and then you do an original product and it's not good. And then you're like, oh, the fans are hating on this, but the product isn't good. There's no, like, you're not bringing in any new fans. Like, you could have moved on by bringing in new fans, but your product is so bad, no one even wants to be interested, or no one's interested in it. So, and then you lost all of you were basically blacklisted yourself from all of the popular GL industry. Everyone took Faye's side. So I'm like, what did you think would happen after you posted the X posting? You thought you were gonna clear things up and make things better for yourself? That made no sense to me. Because I was just like, everyone has stood by Faye. Moondu Productions, P-Pin, the entire GL industry as a whole. The 4E producers are all on her side. And the kicker, people don't like know this or remember this. P-Um and P-Pim, who are the couple who work for her, were Juan's friends. They were Juan's friends. And Juan fired them. And P-Um went on X when they kind of came out of that, and we're starting to work with Faye again, because people were like, why are you working with Faye? You're part of like Juan's cohort, blah blah blah. And P-Um was like, she was like, one, just because we were friends with someone doesn't mean we were close. And two, they're like, I don't even know why we were fired. They don't even know.
Wow.
They're like, we don't know what happened, and we don't have answers. We don't know what went on. We were just let go, and like, I think they said like the beginning of February, the end of January, they were both let go. So it was like, no, like, they were also in the crossfires of that. And the fact that Faye felt so comfortable with them and trusted them and was like, can you come back and work for me under my company? I think that tells you a lot about the whole situation with Nine Star, and like who can be trusted when your own friends, like, crazy. I was kind of crazy. I was like, Faye came in with fucking receipts. I love that for her. She was like, I ain't saying nothing. She was like, I'm not saying anything that's not true. I'm just clearing the air, and this is my perspective on what happened. And I believe her. I mean, I've always believed her. I always figured, like, there's always three sides to a story, but I definitely was like leaning on her version was more truthful about what was going on. And yeah, it's just like, I don't understand the point. I'm just like, 9star is irrelevant. I don't like, people are like, they should not be a company. I'm like, there's so many companies that should be a company. I don't fucking care that they exist or don't exist. It's like, whatever. They're not important to me. I don't follow them. I have no idea what's going on with their company. I don't know.
Probably nothing.
Yeah, I think there might be a series coming out with Yoko or something. I don't know. But I don't care. Like, I don't care. So I don't put energy into that. I care about what's going on with Faye's career. I care about, like, her moving forward. And I'm proud of her for, like, coming out and speaking out. But I'm just like, this was also unnecessary. The whole situation is unnecessary. Like, everything. I'm like, how did we get here? Really bad management. Ego. Ego and bad management. I'm just like
none of this had to happen.
None of this had to happen.
They could have kept going with like a good thing, maybe adapted another book.
At least one more series.
Yeah.
Or you could have, like, if things would have ended like on good terms, y'all could have like had that press conference together. They all could have gotten together if they were treating Faye correctly, treating her with respect. Y'all could have been like, okay, well, we want to end this with you, Faye. Like, we're not gonna move forward. Like, let's get to an amicable point and let's do a press conference letting people know, like, how we feel and, like, there's no bad blood. Mm-hmm. That could have been easily done, and like it would have
been no boycott,
nope.
Like hate messaging.
There might have been some like disgruntled fans, but it wouldn't have gotten to the point where it is like this. Yeah. There'd have been a small cohort who was like, I'm so sad the ship ended and I won't ever go back. It's only this ship for me, and like, whatever, you do that. But most, like, people would have been like, okay, well, I'm really upset, but okay. Like, everyone is ending it. They're all on the same page. There's no hard feelings. Like, okay. But no. 9star decided to change their business model abruptly, change the culture abruptly, and have someone who was not a part of not even a part of the industry try to handle stuff. I don't even know, like, who knows who was making these decisions. I'm like, I don't know if Juan was making these decisions or if Nani was coming in and telling, oh, this is how we handle shit in the corporate world. Like, this, you do this and this, which is, the way things were handled is very much like a typical corporate company, which kind of makes sense, but I'm like, that's not how you should be handling this situation. I'm like, yeah, like, why would you hire someone? When they hired her, I was like,
they orchestrated their own train wreck.
Yes.
Like, why would you do that?
Let me fire all the people who helped me start this and did all this hard work to set it up, and then let me hire someone from the outside with no industry experience and to do all my dirty work, and then not communicate with anyone, not communicate with my artist. And it's like, when they have a rabid fan base that will turn on people and like, not just this fandom, like other fandoms too. Like, they're all kind of toxic to a degree because it's like, a bunch of children. So I don't know. A lot of people with arrested development, delusions of grandeur. So that's what happened. Thoughts? It's stupid. This whole situation is stupid. But I'm on Faye's side, and I'm happy that her new series is going to come out next year. I'm really excited. Oh, Broken in Love. Alisa. Alisa. Oh, yeah. It looks so good. It looks so ridiculous and over the top, and I can't wait to watch it. Mod systemet vi bokser, de andre hopper som lopper, imens jeg også er en hosser.